Shin awakens in a reality that's 500 years after he conquers the death game. He becomes the strongest superhuman in the universe and travels aimlessly with beautiful women while keeping his extraordinary powers a secret from power mongers in the kingdom. The adventurers find themselves on a new task. They wish to see the High Dragnir, Schweid, who was one of Shin's support characters. But before that, the girls get a cosplay makeover made by yours truly. Among the representatives of beast nations that graced Gerard's funeral, Schweid is suspected to be in the number as he is revealed to be the first emperor of the Dragon Empire. When Schweid reveals himself, he turns out to be an ugly lizard. One thing that doesn't change is his devotion to Master Shin as he expresses his delight to see him again. Shin makes him understand that formalities are no longer necessary and wishes to be treated as a regular human. Soon, they sit to talk about the events that led to this moment, including Gerard's passing. Yet, Schweid is more concerned about Shin's plans for the future. Shin reveals he'll head for the sacred place for more answers. But before that, he leaves a gift for Schweid, which is revealed to be a refurbished version of the Dragnir's battle staff. Schweid thanks him and heads back to rule the Dragon Empire, while Shin visits Farnid's guild to find his next ranking job. Seems Kuor has caught on to Shin's flair, because the next we see her is among Shin's gang. Safe to say that Shin has created a secret cult only for women. This explains why Schweid had to go and why Gerard had to die. Now that's some harem-type shit after a day filled with adventure. But not the type of adventure that has the girls screaming daddy. They return to the guild to find out Shin is being summoned to the royal palace. Shin makes sure to pass Gerard's special weapon to his offspring, Wolfgang, who is revealed to be the new king of the beasts. Afterward, they use a crystal to teleport back home, but find out the area is being watched due to the Moon Sanctum's disappearance. At that moment, Schnee accidentally blurts her wish to make Shin forever, but she swerves it off immediately with a gang attitude. Tiara seizes the opportunity to school Shin on the difference between human and elf lifeline. She explains that elves can hope and wait for things longer because they live through multiple human lifetimes. Back at the guild, Selisa calls Shin's suspicious attitude of only traveling with beautiful women. After this recap, I'll add this to the top 10 reasons why I want to be reincarnated as an Isekai protagonist. Shin defending himself has him calling Wilhelm an ally. But what he doesn't expect is the awkward stares he gets from every adventurer in the room. Turns out they're shocked the low-life E-rank adventurer worked with Wilhelm, the scary guy popularly known to never work in teams. Soon, Shin meets with Barlux the guildmaster and Arud the mage. Shin only discovers Skullface's sword flew into the second princess's bedroom, but things are about to get even more interesting. Arad reveals the sword possesses the same mana from the high-leveled Skullface gem Shin dropped at the guild. In other words, Shin rattled himself out, and now has to face summoning at the royal palace. The one who summoned Shin is Rionne, also revealed to be the second princess of the kingdom. Barlux tells Shin he's about to be her next victim, as she has taken a quick interest in him. Sadly, none of them know what Rionne has in store for him. Schnee, on the other hand, has dealt with the royals and understands they'll try to aggressively recruit Shin because of his powers. In the worst cases, marry him off to one of the princesses, so she comes up with a brilliant idea of acting as his future bride. In summary, let's say Shin reads the room wrong, because instead of a proposal, Rionne wishes to duel him. All Shin wonders is how this crackhead got to be a princess, What a waste of beauty, brains, and, well, you know, the B word. Rionne explains that she's often misunderstood to be sweet as a fairy, but it's mostly the first princess who is poise, prim, and proper. Before exiting, Shin makes sure to salute Rionne's assistant, Badras, for having to deal with Miss Loose Screws. They teleport into a battle royale realm with the aid of a bigger gem. For the first order of business, they choose their weapons as they begin what Rionne refers to as a test of skills. Unexpectedly, both turn out to be equally matched by using the same techniques and power buff. Yet, we have Rionne ending the test with the last strike. Finally, Rionne asks the groundbreaking question, and if Shin would like to join their ranks in the kingdom. But Shin makes it clear he enjoys being an adventurer. Rionne reveals she's keeping Skullface's sword, as in this kingdom, it's a form of proposal. One attempt to slay a monster has left Shin with an accidental bride-to-be. Schnee is definitely not going to like this. Furthermore, Badras reveals there are people who could exploit the situation and bend Shin's will, forcing him to become a servant to the royals. Instead of a reward that'll never allow Shin to be broke for the rest of his life, he chooses to have access to the royal library. And this brings shock to his audience. By the time the trio returns from the battle realm, the palace has been hijacked. They find the man behind the ambush to be Cardinal Greril, but when it's time for Badras to question the priest, revealed to be under the influence of a charm, Shin and Ronnie are teleported to a nearby city that's been abandoned. Shin gets in touch with his companions to inform them about the recent situation. For the surface level, Schnee will report the princess's safety to the royal palace. And for the in-depth level, there's dirty underground work going on with the forbidden spell of mind control. Schnee believes their culprit is a high-level demon and uses concealment spell to sneak into the castle with the girls. They visit Cardinal Greril, who has been locked up in the dungeon with no memory of how he became the vessel of the devil. When Schnee offers to break him out of the state, the demon unveils itself and calls Schnee his worst nightmare. As the fight follows, it seems that Demon and Schnee go way back to when demons existed in numbers 500 years ago. Ugly tries to persuade Schnee to leave the companions of weak humans and join the demon movement. Sadly, that's about all the BS he can spill till Schnee cuts him down for good. She soon reports this news to the palace, informs them that the teleported are safe, and makes her way to aid the damsels in distress, Shin and Rionne. Turns out, they were teleported to a city that fell during the sudden disappearance of the high humans. If a demon was responsible for the strange event, this means they'll eventually run into dangerous monsters. But Shin worries about going full throttle with the princess. Furthermore, Shin discovers they're stuck within the walls of the city because every time Shin tries to jump over them, he gets teleported back into it. Turns out, the city is a dungeon that can only escape after crossing the obstacles or defeating the monsters in it. The first monster they encounter is the mummy, inspired by J-Lo from Ghost World. The ghoul unleashes a very powerful spell that makes Rionne have second thoughts about it. Wrapping things up, Shin and Rionne make the perfect team as they take down Ugly in an instant. The next monster, however, is a troublesome one, and Rionne's first charge has her all wrapped up in tentacles. Shin loosens Rionne from the monster's grip and deals the final damage so Blondie can crack its core. In an interesting turn of events, the tentacles did win against Rionne, because the next time she stands, Shin gets a glimpse of Valhalla in an awkward way. After getting a change of outfits from Shin's trunk, the two set out for the next dungeon quest. Shin gives Skullface a sword and enchantment, so Rionne can easily legendary weapons, if the monsters appear with them. The next creature emerges from an egg, and its first attack turns its whole target to solid ice. Good thing Shin detects this and flees with Rionne, but it soon becomes a reverse chicken race. Shin comes up with a plan where he runs for it so Rionne can strike it from behind, and for a minute, it does the job, until Bird Brain instantly regenerates. Before things get extra, Shin gives Ronnie an assignment to find the door out of the dungeon. Of course, this was merely a trick to get her far away so he could go in with his full strength. Shin slays the beast at least 30 times before finding its core and destroying it for good. They escape the dungeon and camp outside together, only to find an absurd number of monsters marching at dawn. Rionne describes the scenario as a flood caused by overflowing mana in a region, releasing monsters and walking forms of mini overlords. Rionne reveals they're heading for Valmer, so they must warn the city before the attack. She visits the lord of the town, while Shin reports this news to the guildmaster, Baron, but not without slipping his quick pass, so his words hold weight. Baron acknowledges Shin's report and prepares to mobilize warriors to defend the city. Later on, Shin takes a stroll to town where he meets Barrett, a supporting character to his friend. Barrett spills tea about other high humans currently at Valmer. He reveals that Hineneko, Shadow, and Holly remain in this reality, but are currently out of the city for business. The whole conversation comes as a shock to Shin, who thought he was the only player left in the game. Matter of fact, Barrett reveals that Schnee has portrayed several acts of betrayal to her master by not revealing her connection with player killers who were actively killing players in the game. The conversation ends with Shin believing that Schnee has a reason for acting that way, but wishes to know why. Later that day, Shin reunites with the girls, and the next day, they're off to see the Lord of Valmer, Taro, to discuss the plans to train troops and annihilate the Flood. On the night the Flood arrives, Schnee tells Shin they will discuss after they win the fight. She begins the first attack on the flood of monsters, wiping a very significant number of them out with just a single strike. However, she's unable to unleash another large-scale attack due to its voluminous requirements. Shin jumps into action, wiping another large number. Tiara is not left out of the fun. A shot from her arrow wipes out a number of them, while Rionne mobilizes warriors to clean up the dirt. In the climax of the battle, Wilhelm and Lacia make a bigger comeback than Manchester United. Easily a cutting-edge victory for Team Valmer. When more of the high demons emerge, that's Shin's sign to become the beast he is. He asks the nearby troops to evacuate, takes a new armor called Red, and unveils a cursed weapon that sucks souls. The fight pretty much ends with Shin defeating the final boss and 0 casualties. To wrap shit up, a party is thrown in the adventurer's honor, and Schnee finally confesses to her master. That's a wrap, weebs. Hope you enjoyed this recap as much as I did. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for more content like this. And I will be seeing you in the next upload.